get started here. So first off, everybody, some wonderful bit of fantasy news. If you've watched the last few videos, you may see me talk about these two books right here, Seasons of Abaddon and A Contract in Sulphorn. Both have become my favorite books this year. And not that it buries some of the other books, because, for example, I've read Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach, and I love those books. They're not a distant first place, but certainly first place. And I did something kind of dumb and fun yesterday on the Wizards Enclave Discord, which is for Nico's book reviews and Andrew's Wizardly Reads, two good booktube channels for you. You were allowed to post videos like this on their Discord, and I posted my reviews of these, and it was the review of this one. Someone quoted it and said, "Hey, I'm glad you liked it." And I'm like, okay, well, and I gave him a thumbs up. And later on in the day, I checked back for something else, but I looked, and I happened to notice the person who told me they were glad they liked it was none other than Christopher Warman, one of the two authors of these two books. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I quoted him and thanked him profusely, and I asked him, do you intend to do more? Because I didn't know how much, if they were going to do more. I assumed they were. And he says there's 5 books planned, and the next one's coming out in a few months. So yes, we get more of this world, and I can't wait. This is a nice new breath of fresh air in fantasy reading right here. My favorites this year so far. Let me put these over here somewhere. So I'm going to do a quick review of Joe Haldeman, Old 20th. I just picked this up a week ago and gave it a go. Not quite 300 pages. So this entails a few aspects in futurism, one being longevity, one being space habitats, and one being artificial intelligence, and another being virtual reality. The first couple, few chapters, it's like 30 pages or so, is nothing but an info dump. Your viewpoint character narrates the whole book. And his name is Jacob, and Jacob is a long-lived individual, 200 years at the time that this adventure gets going. But you get a 200-year info dump, and the first explanation is that this treatment comes through to rejuvenate everybody, make them young. So there's a problem in that at first it's only available to the rich, but then it starts to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, but it apparently doesn't get cheap enough. And people start going to war over this. Well, some kind of plague is released that kills all 200 million people. The 200 million people who survived were the people who got the treatment. So it's like the well-to-do won. Like, you're really killing off all the almost middle class and poor? That's what happened here. Society then breaks down, of course, but the remaining 200 million get together and kind of rebuild things. And but before I go on, one quick thing, I guess I'll do this each way with each aspect. So as far as longevity goes for real, most of the stuff you can get at the moment is like supplements that kind of maybe do something, but they're not going to be the real trick. However, there are a few things down the pipeline. One big one that you can do, that's still in testing, but you can go volunteer for it. I'm not sure if you have to pay for it yourself or it gets funded itself. It costs you $9,000 or $10,000. Your thymus. This thing degrades quickly over time. And someone like me probably doesn't even have half their thymus left. I'm 52 years old. Well, the people who get their thymus regenerated through a cocktail of 3 drugs, all of a sudden their gray hair goes away, and they get strength that they hadn't had in years, and endurance, and their cognition improves and so forth. So there's a real bit of a fountain of youth at play there. Whether or not it extends your lifespan indefinitely, like what we don't know is if, let's say it regenerates you 5 years. Can you just age 5 years and then regenerate again, age 5 years? That's what we don't know. But still, it's under testing right now. And that's probably the biggest thing out there right now. Another one is testing on a drug called rapamycin, found on Easter Island, the big statues buried in the ground. And that has a just whole body healthiness for you. It's normally used for organ transplant patients. But if you use it in low doses, so far so good that it has been nothing but positive effects for the human body. But it hasn't been extensively tested in people enough for that, so it's not really available. There's another one coming down the pipeline where you get your blood filtered, because as you grow older, you get these chemical combinations. It's like plaque for the blood. So what you do is you get a transfusion with yourself, and while your body's out, a portion of your plasma is replaced with saline, and sometimes they will add in albumin. Now, this kind of treatment is something you can do legally now for other things. It actually treats other conditions, but for extending human lifespans, it hasn't been FDA approved. You can go overseas. There's some people who have said, well, I'll go to Costa Rica and set up a clinic, but it hasn't been tested extensively. And there's these two doctors, Mr. and Mrs. Comboy, who are at the lead of this kind of research in the United States. And even they say, you really shouldn't do this right now because we haven't tested, you can make yourself sick. So we want to keep testing this a bit more, but so far so good. And people, elderly folks who have had this treatment, their arthritis goes away. Their bad back pain goes away. They get energy and strength back. They still look elderly though, so it doesn't drastically change their appearance, but it does make them healthier. And so that's where we kind of sit on the cusp of these first things that will be a bit of a bridge, and then beyond that would have to be something more severe like genetic tampering to see if we can rejuvenate people even further. But a lot of your lead people, your Dr. George Church and David St. Clair, they won't marry themselves to a definite timeline, but they keep going on about 2030 to 2035 to get a real robust treatment. So if you're alive in a decade, you might be sitting pretty good if you want your youth back. So that's the first aspect of this. And so the next one is they start tiptoeing out into the solar system and start building space habitats. And not too long after they start this, about 1,000 people get together, make 5 such habitats, decide we're going to another star. This isn't quite the same thing as a cliche thing in science fiction where, well, the Earth is screwed, so let's go to another solar system. But because here's not doing bad, there's people living there, but they just decide they want to go. Now, if we ever really do this, I guess eventually someone will go. The thing is that in reality, there's so much more resources off the Earth, but inside our solar system. You don't have to giddy up and head to another star as a requirement to survive. I picked this book out. So this is called Mining the Sky. This is a look at just how much resources are in our solar system. The asteroid belt alone out between Mars and Jupiter has enough stuff in it of everything you can need, from water to steel, all there. I should say iron, pre-smelted iron, to support quadrillions of people. That's just in our solar system. I don't know if we'll ever have quadrillions of people, especially if you're going to take longevity treatments. People might not be so ready to have babies, but still, that's just an idea, and you haven't even used the planets like Venus and Mercury and Mars and so on. Just the asteroid belt for that many people. And we're talking building, like you get large, I don't know if I can put this camera here, I'm going to try. Here's an old famous picture of the interior of a space habitat in a ring shape. One physicist joked that it was like shopping malls in space. Whatever, water, green, housing, whatever you need. And, you could have, anyone they wanted could have a space habitat of their very own, the size of Manhattan. That's how much stuff is out there. But I guess at some point, someone's gonna wanna go, and they'll strap an engine on, and they will take off, just like these guys do. Their trip is gonna last about 1,000 years, but they're rejuvenated people, so they'll probably try to live it out. To go along with this is virtual reality to help keep people entertained. You can't quite get in it all the time. It works on a schedule. But you can go in, and in this case, Old 20th means a lot of 20th century virtual reality stuff. What happens, however, someone dies, and then they find out that there's people dying on Earth. Then they find out that the program running the simulations has become sentient, and so now runs into this mystery. Are these people dying of something happening to them in the virtual reality? Is the artificial intelligence killing them? Is there something else killing them? They don't know what is going on, and they're on their way to another star. They could potentially turn around and go back, but they've set their sights and they are on their way. This is not even 300 pages, but I have to say, I wasn't that impressed with the lead character as a person, but he's basically likable enough to get you through the story. The ending, though, does have a pretty good shocker about the reality of what's going on here, and I'm glad I picked it up. A very good book from Joe Haldeman. I only ever read, he wrote The Forever War, which I wound up being kind of lukewarm on. I wasn't that impressed with, but somebody might, I keep hearing it's in like some kind of show or movie development. And Camouflage, which is a very good book about some shape-changing alien creature that crash lands on planet Earth, and it's been here for 1 billion years, and how it adapts and becomes a person and all that. It's a good read too. So Joe Haldeman, Old 20th. So here, wait, before I go on, so I'm gonna read this next. Afterworld by Debbie Urbanski, and instead of going to another solar system, Earth is screwed in this book, but they're just gonna take people and upload them into some simulation. And this particular AI's job is assigned to this one person to copy their life and find out who they are and scan them and read them and know them for their eventual trip into a simulation. And the artificial intelligence winds up falling in love with this person. So I thought that sounds like a good read there. That's what I am reading next. After that, I guess I'm just going to jump on the Service Model by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I just read a real short book he just did. I did a video on it called Elder Race. That was really good, so I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, so now we have a original book tag by the Bookish Drummer. This is called Would You Rather Booktag, the Impossible Edition. There's some tough ones here. So here we go, right off. Question number 1, there are 10 of them. Would you rather only be able to reread your favorite book once every 10 years or be forced to read your least favorite book once a year? Well, I would do the latter. I don't reread books anymore, but occasionally I do go back and flip through some favorite passages, with the lead one being the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever, and I just don't think I would want to give that up. I could tolerate reading one bad book a year just to keep going through my favorite stuff every so often. Number 2, would you rather be forced to get rid of all of your books by your favorite author or get rid of your entire library besides your favorite author? I would not give, there's 1,000 books in here, I'm not giving them up. I don't know who qualifies as the favorite author, but for example, the most books I own by one author is Larry Niven, primarily known for Ringworld, but it's expanded beyond that. It's called Known Space. He's got a number of books in it. 32 books of his I own, and there's just no way. I've read it all. I'm good with it. I love it, but there's too many other good books out there. It's like giving up good friends for one, although there's a real kind of a related question. I'm going to flip that around a little bit, but too many other good books. I'd give up the favorite author that I already have to keep going with everything else. So here's a real tough one. Number 3, would you rather only be able to read very short books, less than 300 pages, or very long books, 700 or more pages? You don't get anything in between. Nothing between 301 and 699. Well, that's most books. So you're really cutting out most books. So you're either getting the short ones or the long ones. Do I give up Patrick Rothfuss with a couple of 1,000-page books, or where'd it go? This is only 200 pages. I love this book. And so I don't know where it sits. This is a tough question. But I think that I think I've enjoyed more books under 300 than I have over 700. And so you're already giving up most of your books. So that's the spirit of the question. Now it's how much more are you going to cut out? And I think I could cut out the ultra long ones in favor of the shorter ones, which I probably enjoyed more. That's a tough one, but that's what I'd go with. Number 4, would you rather your favorite series get a terrible adaptation or never adapted? I just say never adapted. I don't need everything I like to be adapted. Do it good or don't do it. And whatever, if you do it anyway, I'll just ignore it. Number 5, would you rather an unfinished series have a terrible ending or remain unfinished forever? Why? This is a little odd because it's like, so one series I loved was called The Trader Sun Cycles by Miles Cameron. Awesome fantasy series, awesome magic system, high drama. One of the books I read gave me such a thrill that while I was reading a particular part, this wizard's duel, this high drama wizard's duel, I forgot where I was sitting. When I looked up when the scene was over, I'm in a car dealership getting my oil change. I just forgot where I was, and it's one of those nice moments where you look around and people reading newspapers and watching TV don't know what you've been through. And it was just an amazing moment. Fortunately, it's 5 books long. The 5th book, one of the worst things, boring things I ever read. I guess when it gets down to it, you probably got to have your answers. If for example, Patrick Rothfuss comes out with the 3rd book, Doors of Stone, in the King Killer trilogy, and it's not good, I can live with it. I would like to get the answers because I love the other 2 books so much. I could live with it if you get a terrible ending, I guess, because you still get the thrill of the rest of the books. So, tough question. Number 6, would you rather cut your reading time in half or cut your book buying budget in half? This is an easy one. I would cut that book buying budget in half because I've got 30-some books over here I haven't read yet because I keep buying new books. So if I cut the book budget in half, eventually I'll get caught up with all my reading, and then that'll be fine. No more TBR, huh? That's good. 7, would you rather be forced to listen to audiobooks at 3 times speed or listen to audiobooks at half time speed? I only ever listened to one audiobook. I was training as a truck driver, and the trainer was running some science fiction series, a Death Stalker, I think it was. I don't really do audiobooks. I guess the worst thing, half speed I couldn't do. 3 times speed just means you're going to talk really fast and get through the thing, and that, I'd be fine with that. I'd probably go 3 times speed. Number 8, would you rather only be able to read physically or only be able to listen to audiobooks? Physically, give me books, give me books, give me books, books. Oh, I feel the books. I'm not anti-technology, let me tell you, whether it be audiobooks or your Kindles and e-readers and whatnot. You're gonna drag me biting and biting into a physically bookless world. Oh, here we go here. New book smell. Let me do something. New book smell versus old book smell. Find a good old book here. So here we have Lord Fowl's Bane. Let's go. Smell test. Yes. So, no, I think just a little bit, just like that old book smell, just a little bit better, but books, physically books. Doing no audio books, nothing. Number 9, would you rather be stuck reading a mix of 3 and 4-star books or read a mix of 1 and 5-star books? This is ridiculous. I suppose you have to admit that most books published are 3 and 4 star books. So, like, how do you, but you're 1 in 5, so I guess that means you have to read it. You could try to cheat and say, well, if I read, I can just do not finish the 1 star books. Well, I guess the idea is, no, you really have to just sit through it. But after that, you get like a favorite book. I don't know if 4 star books are enough. Are they 3 and 4? Certainly not. If all books were just 3 star books, I probably wouldn't read as much. 4 star books, sure. If everything was a 4 star book, then I would read as much as I do. But now we're talking about, I guess I just can't give up the favorite books. I can't give that up. I can't give up favorite books. Can't do it. I don't want to give this up. That's a 5 star read right there. I'm not giving that up. So I got to go with that. Read some bad ones to get the good ones. Now, last one, question number 10. Would you rather only watch your favorite booktuber or watch everyone besides your favorite booktuber? So, honestly, I only had one favorite booktuber for the longest time, and that's Murphy Napier. And I was probably 90% of the time I was watching booktubers, it was just her, and every once in a while I'd indulge in others when they came up. Little Mrs. Napier has some competition because I've got other favorite booktubers now. Since I've become one and I've spread out and started listening more to others have come up that I just love to death. And so there is no number 1 right now. There's a bunch tied for number 1. I wouldn't give them up for nothing. But to accentuate that, the problem is that some of my favorite booktubers have given me some of my favorite book recommendations that I've read now. This was something someone reviewed. A Short Stay in Hell was something someone reviewed. The Southern Reach, Jeff Vandermeer. So I don't want to especially give up the book recommendation part of it that follows some of your favorite booktubers. Completely aside from the way they may present themselves to you, it's the book recommendations that you get, and then you get new favorite books out of it too. So I'm gonna go with stick to your favorite booktuber. Sorry, everybody else. I won't mention names though. So that's it. So the book is Drummer. Did he tag some people? Yeah, he tagged a bunch. I'm not sure who to tag because I've been tagging a lot of people doing these booktube tags. So I mean, I'll say I don't want to take up too much time here. We're gonna tag. I'm gonna tag Gavin at Genre Books because he likes to tag me quite a bit. Let's see, Sci-Fi Scavenger never does book tags, so we're not gonna bother him. They don't do one. They don't do one. Not a lot of people doing these. I guess I'll tag Chanel. She does them sometimes. McKenna at McKenna Loves Content hasn't done one yet that I think I recommended, so I'll tag her anyway. Anyway, the rest of the tags will be in the description. Read by Fred, I'll do. And I think that's going to be it for now. Still unemployed, waiting for a call back. That's okay. Rainy day out, and I'll still get out of the house and get some extra vitamin D today. Thank you all very much. Hope you enjoyed this. Get something out of it. Have a lovely one.